for English reformers, whatever Henry's motives may have been, this was a breakthrough moment, naturally. And was Henry to be considered a new Moses? Well, his wife, Catherine Parr, certainly thought he was. I love this quote because it's so over the top. Our Moses and most godly, wise governor and king hath delivered us out of the captivity and bondage of Pharaoh. I mean by Moses, King Henry VIII, and I mean by this Pharaoh, the Bishop of Rome, right? And then, like, in turn, and actually, we had it even worse, which is a funny thing to say when, you know, she was already the queen. It's hard to claim it was too tough. So there's Catherine. This is the frontispiece of the Great Bible of 1519. There is Henry sitting there in sort of Moses imagery. There's I'm not going to go into all the details, but this is Henry as Moses. Similarly, some 20 years later, the King James comes out. Here's the frontispiece of that, and with obviously Moses right there, front and center. So, you know, Exodus imagery all over the place in the English Reformation. After Henry, it takes an interesting turn, actually. We get to Elizabeth, who was certainly not Catholic, but was also not really a very pure reformer. She was more interested in keeping the peace. But the purists, right, the reformers who were like really wanted to bring England fully into the Reformation. So these purists, who we know as Puritans, were very disappointed with Elizabeth's reign. As they talked about this, they talked about Elizabeth leaving them stranded in the wilderness, right? She was like Moses, but she couldn't finish the job. So again, using the same Exodus imagery. When Charles I took power in 1625, I hardly need to tell you all the English history. In any case, when Charles I took power, Charles was actively anti-Puritan. The Exodus story was again the mechanism for understanding current events. Oliver Cromwell becomes the new Moses, I guess another new Moses. Here's a lovely quote from Richard Cromwell, his son, who just uses the biblical text and then tells us he's using the biblical text to compare his father to Moses. My father died full of days. His eyes were not waxed dim, neither was his natural strength abated, which is a quote directly from Deuteronomy 34, the death of Moses. So there's Cromwell as a Moses figure. You got the Quakers, who were anti-Cromwell, who were like, no, Protestantism is enslavement. Essentially, everybody, as far as I can tell, in England in this period was invoking the Exodus. It's almost like it was the only language they had available for analogy to their various situations. The Puritans, who left England for America, took their story and their Exodus identity with them, and no surprise, it must have been absolutely irresistible to them as they are, you know, leaving England and crossing the great body of water to found a new civilization in what they hoped would be their promised land. So, you know, this is a quote from William Bradford, who would go on to be governor of Plymouth Colony, right? Likening himself and his peers to Moses and the Israelites. In turn, Bradford was described as a Moses figure by some.